Jihad is a believer's internal struggle to live out the Muslim faith as well as possible, a struggle to build a good, functioning Muslim society. Holy war and the struggle to defend Islam with net force if necessary. Although many modern scholars say that jihad is only a mental struggle, clear scriptural evidence says otherwise. There is both a mental struggle and a holy war. Military jihad can only be done if the following criteria are met: self-defense, strengthening Islam, protecting the freedom of Muslims to practice Islam, punishing oath breakers, and carrying out justice. However, it cannot be used to force conversion, conquer other nations, take territory for economic gain, settle disputes, or demonstrate a leader's power. The Battle of Badr took place in 634 AD. It took place when the Muslims in the city of Medina came into conflict with the Meccans. The Muslims had had a long war with the Meccans. First Muslims believed that it was never right to fight, even for self-defense. However, later, Allah revealed that fighting for the purpose of self-defense is allowed. In response to numerous caravan raids and small skirmishes, Muhammad organized an army to attack a caravan of goods belonging to the Meccans. There were 300 Muslims fighting against around 1,000 Meccans, according to later Islamic records. The Muslims were victorious, and they believed that this was because they had Allah upon their side, unlike the pagans of Mecca. Islam can be translated as both peace and submission. This tells us that following and submitting to Allah is the way that will lead to peace. Muslims believe that where there is injustice, this should be quelled. Have no vengeance or hatred should come as a result. This is seen in the Hadith when it says, "Hate your enemy mildly, he may become your friend one day." Islam doesn't teach pacifism in all situations, as injustice should always be made right. However, war should only be initiated for the end goal of peace, not for irrational hatred. The Quran also teaches people that we are all equal, as it says in Surah chapter 30, verse 22. Of his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, the diversity of your tongues and colours. Furthermore, they believe in just wars, as it says in the Quran, chapter 17, verse 33, nor take life which Allah has made sacred except for just cause. However, the just cause part can be interpreted in many different ways, based on people's different ideologies. Therefore, the whole Muslims believe that war and killing is only permitted if it is just. Racial and cultural during conflicts are not permitted, and peace should always be the end goal. Muhammad was a warrior, and he fought various battles including Badr, killing various numbers of opposition military leaders. In his lifetime, he fought wars mainly with the pagans of Mecca. The wars that he fought in would lead to many more, including the Islamic conquest, North Africa, Spain, and an invasion of France, which culminated Frankish victory on the 10th of October 732 AD. In the Quran, chapter 2, verses 191 to 193, one such of these battles against the pagans of Mecca is discussed. It reads, "And kill them wherever you find them, and turn them out from where they had turned on you. And al-fitna is worse than killing. Fight until there is no more fitna in Allah, and worship is for Allah alone." This quote supports an offensive movement, of which Muhammad was part of and led, and the peoples of Mecca. The quote tells us that wars must go on till all people submit to Allah, as it uses the term fitna, which means unrest or disbelief in Allah, and says that wars must carry on until fitna is abolished. Muhammad was and is portrayed in the Quran as a warrior. It would be ignorant to argue that he is a pacifist, given the fact that he led armies, war bands for a large amount of his life. However, one could argue that these wars were to bring everyone under Allah and Islam, and as Islam does mean peace, the world he was fighting for was one that would be a world of peace. Furthermore, he also uses quotes such as that you shouldn't kill anyone unless it is lawful. This tells us that he believed in only just killing. However, the interpretation of just is very loose. Arguably, the world's most famous Muslim pacifist, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, led by example and used non-violent methods to achieve his goal of freedom. He worked in India when it was under British occupation, and opposed the occupation, and achieved his victory in 1947. It was a violent time, but he ignored threats of terrorism, and he endured his own jihad or struggle, but this was a pacifist jihad, unlike many other Muslims' interpretation of jihad. The Qudai Khidmatka, servants of God, set up by him, mostly ran between 1926 to the 30s. 100,000 members were in this organisation and opposed the British police, but did so in a non-violent way. They had greater weapons, but Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan believed that weapon is patience, righteousness. No power can stand against it. Therefore he believed that he had the greater army, though a peace-loving army. Many people lost their lives in this pacifist struggle, and he spent 52 years imprisoned himself. However, eventually he proved that peace was the way to victory. During the time that the Taliban controlled Afghanistan, they allowed an organisation called Al-Qaeda to have training camps there. In September 2001, nearly 3,000 people were killed in the 9/11 terrorist attacks. The United States believed that Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, was the man behind the attacks. Initially, there was a lot of international pressure on the Afghan leader to hand over Osama bin Laden. However, the Taliban were reluctant and didn't do this. This forced the United States of America to start bombing Afghanistan in October 2001. It targeted bin Laden's Al-Qaeda fighters, but also members of the Taliban. And in November 2001, the Northern Alliance, aided by the US and a multitude of other countries, including the UK, took control of the Afghan capital, Kabul. Al-Qaeda did 9/11 because of jihad, what they believed it was. They believed that the US supported many atrocities against Muslims. For example, support for attacks against Muslims in Somalia, support for attacks against Muslims in Mora conflict in the Philippines, support for Israeli aggression against Muslims in Lebanon, support of Russian atrocities against Muslims in Chechnya. And in the Afghanistan war, Al-Qaeda thought they were committing jihad because it was self-defense, which is a big part of jihad. Yet, this was not the case. They were taking over a country, demonstrating their power, and forcing conversion. These are three parts of jihad which are forbidden. They also use jihad to settle a dispute, another non-permissible reason to commit jihad. Furthermore, they believed that they were protecting Muslims, therefore they were defensively active. However, this was not the case. They were supporting a tyrannical, authoritarian regime. One of the main reasons for jihad is holy war. However, before committing war, one is supposed to solve problems diplomatically and peacefully. This is what the USA and their allies tried to do against the Taliban. The Prophet Muhammad told his followers returning from a military campaign, "This day we have returned from the minor jihad to the major jihad," which he said meant returning from armed battle to the peaceful battle. Before the Battle of Badr, there's increasing anti-Muslim sentiment amongst the pagans of Mecca. This triggered a response by Muhammad to protect the Muslims of Medina. This is a correct use of jihad. However, the way the Taliban and Al-Qaeda reacted in the Afghanistan war is not.